What is up, traders? Welcome to another live session. Today is September 12th, 2019, and this is ECB, so this might be one of the first ECBs for you guys, and you are seeing the volatility it can bring. We're looking at Euro USD right now, and you can see we had a spike one way, a spike another way, and now we're just chilling here. This trade we got out yesterday. We got, I think, 28 pips, and we moved stops to entry. And we did get stopped out at entry, thankfully, before all this chaos. And this is one of the reasons why 25 pips is one of. Oops, my fault. 25 pips is one of my things to do, is because especially prior to news releases, there's gonna be a lot of spikes both ways. And if you look at the analysis for Euro USD, I mean, our analysis was pretty spot on. I mean, yeah, our stop was pretty tight. We could have actually made our stop right above this recent key level, and we could have, bagged like 90 pips from our entry. But the thing is, with these kind of events, is you don't know which way price is gonna snap, first or initially. So what came out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern is that Euro is going to cut rates, and I highly recommend you guys use Daily FX or FX Street to read up on fundamentals. So we're going to go over the rundown just briefly. So Draghi had to cut rates from negative 0.40% to negative 50. Maintaining low interest for longer. It will stick to may also see several hawkish members. So so they cut rates, and they're gonna do quantitative easing. So basically what quantitative easing means in simplest terms is they're gonna make it easier for banks to give out loans to businesses and individuals, and this is done to stimulate the economy, introduce new cash flow, and really get it to grow again. For the past month or so, I've been saying that many economists say that the European Union is on the brink of recession. They also say that about the dollar, but the euro, they've been saying that for the past 6 or so months. So, they're gonna try cut rates, trying to stimulate the economy, so they don't have to go through that. But if you read part of the article, they might even cut rates further, and I believe Daily Forex talks about it. So the market had been, it was somewhere in one of these two articles. I will actually put these two articles in the description for the live session today. But there's a couple reasons why the European economy has slowed down, and one of them is the global slowdown due to the trade war. So if we look at this consumer price index, which is a major predictor of inflation, slipped below 1%, and their goal is 2%, right? This is because the German economy has contracted in the second quarter, and this is mainly due to the trade war, okay? And we spoke about this pretty much the past month. So weaker demand from China, the U.S. trade wars are taking their toll. However, the most recent developments have been positive. Trump tweeted that he's postponing new tariffs from August 4th. So we know all that. These gestures of goodwill come ahead of high-level talks scheduled for next month and help soothe market tensions. Investors are selling off safe U.S. bonds. And the Fed's markets will receive. I believe they're meeting. Trump and President of China are meeting next month. I believe sometime in October. I think first week October to hopefully get a deal across. So if that happens, then obviously Germany and France will thrive. The two major sectors of the European Union in terms of stimulating the economy. So maybe they're just going to cut rates for the euro momentarily, and then before the start of 2020 they're back on track. But this trade, our partial got stopped, and also Euro NSD, we got around 38 pips, and then we got stopped out. So our first take profit was hit. We're gonna look at that. Also, the analysis was right there. I just made my stops really tight because of the news. Usually my this setup right here is 3.14. if we look at USD, I think it's like 4.0. Because of the news, I wanted my stops tight because we very well could have had, this spike be higher. And when you have these basically instantaneous spikes, it causes slippage. So if you're new to Forex, basically the working aspect of it is if you take a sell on Euro USD and and your take profit is hit, they're gonna match someone who's buying Euro USD and their SL is getting hit. That's what they do basically. So that's where the whole thing liquidity and slippage comes in. When a move happens this quick, your broker is not given enough time to find a matching opposing contract to take you out. So let's say for Euro USD we're entered short and we didn't take partials and we just let the trade run, and let's say our stop was right at this level, 110,692, okay? And let's say the news came out and whatever, they said we're not gonna cut rates, we're confident, blah blah blah, and Euro spiked all the way to here, okay? So this candle spiked all the way up to here. That is around 50 extra pips ahead of our stop loss, and if it happened instantaneous like this move right here, you probably wouldn't have gotten your stop loss activated in time, or it might have been activated, up here, depending on how many contracts your broker handles and how quick it is. That's why I really recommend ECM brokers. So there's less chance of manipulation happening. But that's why the stop was very tight. And USD, we're gonna look at it. It dropped quite a bit after TP1, but nonetheless, it's better to take the safe bet. So I don't know why it's not showing the. We entered somewhere along here, and I believe our stop was at 5, right above these highs, so right around 7. I'll check, but it was right above this recent support we broke, and our take profit, it was a swing trade opportunity. So our take profits were, our final take profit was pretty substantial, but I think this was the overall setup. I'll have to look at the signal, but something like this. And if you look, we went around, we hit take profit 1, which is right around 178.88, and that was around 35 to 38 pips. I'll have to check on that. And we took partials. Since I was going to sleep, I just put my trade to the first take profit to close. So I was good. But if you're during the London session, you probably closed out half, took partials, and then got stopped out here, which is fine because price ended up going all the way up here before coming back down here. So it actually went as deep as 100 pips from our entry. So obviously, if it was a regular trade week, I would have had my stops a bit above these recent highs, and we still would have got stopped out. But with the news, this doesn't really happen. If there isn't a major news event, you're really not going to get this snap back, up and down kind of thing. But it happens, and that's why we don't trade news in this fashion in terms of holding trades. But thankfully, we shouldn't have got hurt. Either your take profit was and you're closed out, or you took partials because you're awake and you're safe. So that's just a little, I guess, risk management thing. The only way I trade news is taking the benefiting sides of these spikes. So if you Google, if you go on YouTube.com and you go to Forex, you just type in Forex Lens how to trade news. I have a video on how to do that, and it's very simple. When you have a key level like this, like the one right here, 171,400 area, the one that we broke, during the time of the news release, you got to look where price is. So for example, let's say price was right at this green candle. I'll actually zoom in so you guys can see. So let's say at 8:30 a.m. ECB's coming out, and at 8 a.m. we're right around here, okay, right at this key level. It's such an easy way to trade news. I'd have my buy stops right around 10 pips above, and my take profit would be 15 pips above. I would have won that. That's in case the ECB comes out great. On the flip side, I have my sell stops 15 pips below, and my take profit, 15 pips in case ECB, comes off dovish, and I'd get the benefiting factor there. So I've sent a couple of my news trades before, but I really see no purpose other than you testing it out on demo. but you can watch the video on how to do it, and you kind of get used to how to do it when it comes to news releases. But it's fine. Another nice setup spoiled, but it does look like it does look like Euro NSD is gonna come up and float around in this trading range. So I'm not even interested in this setup anymore. Pound, it was one setup I was hoping was gonna come into play yesterday. So we didn't really get too concerned with all the drama with the ECB. But if you look, what had happened is we got our initial break of 123.175. We were waiting for that pullback, retest, rejection. We snapped all the way back in, and since then we've kind of just flirted in along this teal trend line from our daily time frame. So pretty, with ECB, with major fundamental weeks, things can be pretty slow. If you look at the daily time frame, this past 5 days, we've pretty much stayed within one area, right above or below this this trend line we drew. And our ideal scenario we talked about since Friday was popping back up here, creating a support, consolidation box, and we can trade the breakout. That obviously stands, and honestly, I think the bias will still be long. We're still printing hammers like the one we are right now, until we really get a break, close, retest, rejection of 123, 170. I don't see shorts happening, and obviously we have Brexit stuff coming in and out. So a lot of fundamentals are affecting some pairs more than others. For example, CAD CHF, we were in the short. I didn't like it, so I got us out, and then I got us back in, and thank God we got back in because so I'll explain the thought process, because I like to show you guys, when it comes to calling signals, it's not easy, especially when I have to come and call signals, and the next day talk about how they went. For me, I want to only talk about winners, right? So when I call a signal, I think twice, and even exiting a signal, I think twice. So, for example, CAD CHF, we discussed this setup in the live yesterday, immediately after I called the short, and we did get around 15 pips right away after I called the signal, but we snapped back, and what happened was, can I hide this trend line? I want to show both at the same time. Okay, cool. So when I did the original analysis, this is the trend line that I drew. Let me actually fix it. Cool. So this is our trend line. We have our first, second, and third touch. We had the break of the trend line, so I was happy to short it. But what happened was I actually, I guess I was psyching myself out, but there was another way to draw a trend line, from this low to this low, to this low. And what happened was on the 4-hourly, if you look on my Telegram channel, we had this candle pop up, right? And I did not like how that was looking, but I waited out, and this candle right here was actually a bullish pin bar. It actually closed bearish, but at the time when I called this out of the trade, it was a bullish pin bar. So I was thinking, oh man, we're probably gonna go up here and flirt here, maybe even get stopped out, because it might just be waiting for ECB. So I'm like, all right, get out. But later in the night, right around London session, we had this major snapback, and if you look at the overall sentiment with both trend lines considered, we had a break, retest, rejection. Break, retest, rejection. So I was like, all right, we can go short. And since then, we have just actually hit our first take profit officially. So cool. TP1 of CAD CHF is hit. Awesome. So that's another 30 pips bagged. Great. And the daily looks good. The only thing is the hourly. So I choose my take profits very wisely. They're always at key levels, and you can see right now we're kind of reacting at this key level, 175 flat basically. We had a couple of wicks down, so take partials if you haven't. Like I said previously, if the entry is back after we get stopped out, we can always enter again. What we do want is for this to just close below 17500, so we can go lower and play out this swing trade, because the daily, it does look nice. A nice tap off the top trend line of our pennant pattern. If we zoom in, you can see we have a nice spinning top on the lower time frames going down. So in all likelihood, we should be going lower, but definitely move stops to entry, take partials. Let's say we do get pushed back out at entry, we do get a break again below, we can continue going short. Also, gold is one thing I wanted to talk about before I go through some minors. And during yesterday's session, I did say gold does this, and it has a habit of doing this. When gold, especially, or most of the pairs in general, when they come to a key level from our gold short 1490, and they show reluctancy to snap below, and they just sit there and create support. So we see the previous attempt to go lower, it snapped back. We see it again, it snapped back, and this was I don't even know what this was actually. This was pretty volatile. But then again, we snapped back, we kept sitting, we created support, a bunch of hammers in this area. We made one more attempt to go long, and then since then we just never looked back. So I did give this warning that gold could just rocket up, and if you look at the 4 hourly, you can see how aggressively, and this candle right here, this 4 hour candle, is the news candle, this red kind of indecision candle with an equal wick to the top and bottom. But the previous two candles were not from the news, it was just gold being gold. And that's what happens when you're in a trade and it starts to stall, especially a short. You may want to watch out for an impulse move up, and same thing for a sell. If a buy stalls, you might be due for a short down. We see that previous scenario here. So we had a short, we had a nice impulse move for a buy, and then sellers pushed back. We consolidated and we had a nice snap down. So similar thing, just a breakout. I'm actually going to remove this because we're done with the shorts. But this is just a breakout strategy similar to the one we want on pound USD. So we have a kind of a consolidation between 1496 and 1490. We didn't get any closure above this level. When we did, gold didn't look back since then. So just a little heads up, and just kind of, you can go back to the video, it's on our portal, to kind of see what I mean by that. But it's definitely something to keep in mind when you do trade on your own, and you think when you know the analysis is there, but it's kind of stalled, and there's fundamentals coming up within 12 hours or so. Just be cautious and take your profits off the table, and don't trade news. Unless you're doing the news trade method that I showed you, then if you get good at it, then go ahead. But yeah, so right now the price action on most of the charts is going to be pretty ugly. So we're just going to go through some pairs to see if there's any setups. GJ finally broke out of the support region and finally going to make new highs. I'm not really interested in that with all the Brexit. Aussie, I was looking at it last night before I went to sleep. We might have a potential long to the top of this trend line. Right around 100 pips from where we are right now. We could do that. The daily, however, I don't really like how it's closing with a bunch of spinning tops and shooting stars. Let's see the 4 hourly. Yeah, so the 4 hourly, actually, this is interesting. Let's just go to 1 hour because it's creating a channel. And if you guys know me, I love my channels. So I'm going to draw the top of our trend line for our channel. And then we're going to draw the bottom trend line. Oh. Why is it different colors? Okay, there we go. Awesome. So Aussie has found itself in the trend line, and let's actually speak about the dollar because we're on it. The CPI, which is a nice predictor for inflation and economic growth, came out better than expected, so that's great. But tomorrow, today's Thursday, so tomorrow we do have core retail sales and retail sales. So what I was thinking is tomorrow's free session, I'll think about it. I might just do a live news trading session. We'll see. We might. I'm feeling. We'll see. I'll let you guys know on my Telegram channel. I don't know if tomorrow might be the best day to do it, but anyways, Aussie dollar is creating ascending channel. I want to break above it to even go to those longs. But yeah, when you have a major news event, the price action is going to be pretty ugly. Your chart and your levels might be a mess. So you just want to look for the best possible trade. Nope. Oh, let's look at Aussie CAD. So yesterday we said, yeah, there you go. So yesterday we did say there is a long if we do get close above our resistance region, which we talked about. And the long is to our next key level, 198.55, which is right around 40 pips. It is Aussie CAD, so it doesn't move as much. But boom, whoever caught this, nice. I wasn't really too interested because of just the 40 pips. Nothing real there. Let's look at maybe NSD CAD. This is how I choose my signals. I really just go through. Maybe there might be a short. I just go through random pairs because I already have my key levels down, and it gets pretty easy. Just listen to some music and just see the charts. So actually, to make this session concise and short, I'll have I'll look for the signals on my own and just send them through, and we can go through with the signals. Probably get one more trade in for the week. So we had Euro USD bring in 28, Euro NSD bring in 35, CAD CHF brought in another 30. So we're at around 90 pips since yesterday. We obviously had USD Yen bring in 60, that's 150. Gold brought in another 150, that's 300. So I want one more signal just for people that don't trade gold, just to get in on that. But based on our averages, we've been doing pretty good. So we're not trying to force the issue, and we haven't had one losing trade this week, other than the CAD CHF, which we manually closed at negative 10 pips. So if we get a lot of questions during the support, how do I manage the trades once they play out? In all honesty, it depends on if you're going to be awake or not. If I'm going to sleep, I'll just go to take profit 1. I do set alarms, at the start of London session to wake back up to see and give you guys trade updates. If you're awake, once you get to TP1, just close off half your position, move your stops to entry, and after every 15 pips or so, take some more profits off until you have a small runner running. Another alternative method is just taking every trade to TP1. The last 4 weeks, our success rate has been like 75% or higher. And because my setups are usually 1.45 or even 1.5 or greater in risk to reward, you can literally go to the first take profit and end your trade there, because my losses, rarely do I get losses, and not even that, rarely I let it hit the full stop loss. I usually cut the bleeding short. And I mean that in the most humblest way, but if you check the pip counts, usually our losses are very small. So if you have a busy lifestyle and you can't really micromanage, just go to the first take profit. And when you do have time to micromanage, when you're home from work or you're just chilling in bed watching Netflix, do the micromanaging, because at the end of the day, it's your account and you're paying for signals and you want to get the most out of them. Being a trader is a full-time job, even if you're not a day trader. If you've been in the signal game for quite some time, you know that it does require management on your part, but at least you don't have to spend the hours on the charts like I do, or the tension, because the mental toll calling signals takes is a lot. To trust me, the amount of stress that you go through, when your trades in drawdown, or we don't have losing weeks, or except for maybe one back during NFP way back then, but we don't really have losing weeks. But when I do have like a losing day or losing trade, it takes a toll on me, because I know a lot of people are counting on me to deliver, and no one's 100% right. But as long as I can be around 70-75% or higher, I think that's great enough. And if you use proper risk management and you follow my commands and when I tell you to get in and out, you should be straight. So another pretty slow week. Last week was NFP week, and that's usually the week where we kind of take a step back, but we had 300 plus pips. And so this week, was a more quieter week, but things really didn't start moving till yesterday and today and probably tomorrow. So what happens, but as long as you average out the pips and you make around 300 per week. That's all that matters. So enough ranting. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is a free session, so if you have a buddy that trades and you want them to join, I'll be giving a 20% off coupon code tomorrow for them, just for them. So if you're a new client, you can take advantage. So if they're struggling with trading, tell them, you can join the trading room, learn how to trade, and also get our 6 signal providers on the house. So another live session. I'm RP Forex. I'm logging off. I'll see you all tomorrow. Be safe and happy trading.